Hey guys, good morning. Welcome back to our channel, the Eaton Squad. My name is Addie. So for today's video, are the former Filipinos or Balikbayans going to the Philippines? Rules and requirements for November 2023. Details coming right. So who are the former Filipinos or Balikbayans category? So these are Filipinos who went abroad and have naturalized abroad. I know there are some of you who are confused because you have naturalized already, but you still have your Philippine passport. Let me give you an example. So you were petitioned as a fiancé or a spousal visa, or you were petitioned as the family or relative of your parents who already are abroad, and you guys came, for example, in Canada, or you guys came in the US. 3 years later, you guys are eligible now to apply for naturalization, meaning you can become a citizen of a particular country. You applied for naturalization. For example, you became a Canadian citizen, you became an Australian citizen, or you became an American citizen. You now belong to the former Filipinos category, or the Balikbayans. You guys are actually under the foreign nationals category. Now, you are going back to the Philippines as a naturalized citizen of a particular country. What are the privileges that you can still avail as a former Filipino or Balikbayan category? This is when the 1-year visa or the Balikbayan privileges comes in. But you have some documentation to prove that you were a former Filipino before. We will talk about that here shortly. I also wanted to address these issues because I have heard horror stories of former Filipinos or Balikbayans that airlines require them to have a visa to go to the Philippines. You guys actually have plenty of exemptions as a traveling former Filipinos or Balikbayan. The very first issue we will address is you guys should not need a visa to enter the Philippines. Even though you are under the foreign nationals category, but still you are a former Filipino or a Balikbayan. You have certain documentations to prove that you were a Filipino citizen before. So in order to be exempted, or in order for the airline not to look for a visa from you, you can present either of the following. I will say either because I am going to be giving you guys 3 examples that you can present any of them, not all 3 of them. So the very first one is, yes, you have naturalized already. You are now a citizen of a particular country, for example, the US. You are now a US citizen. You are now carrying a foreign passport. But you should still have your Philippine passport. That's one proof that you were a former Filipino before. So, Philippine passport, either it's expired or it's old already, you can use that as a proof. Number 2 is your Philippine birth certificate. Even though you have naturalized in a particular country, your Philippine birth certificate stays as is. That is one proof also. If you have been back and forth in the Philippines as a former Filipino or Balikbayan, you should be getting a Balikbayan visa or the 1-year visa upon arrival into the Philippines. The previous Balikbayan stamp, because they call this Balikbayan stamp, the previous Balikbayan stamp that were given to you during your immigration process is also a proof that you were receiving the 1-year visa upon arrival. So those 3 documents that I mentioned, you can present either of them. But if this is your first time going home to the Philippines as a former Filipino, the first 2 that I mentioned, number 1, your old or expired Philippine passport or your Philippine birth certificate. Now, there are some Filipinos that they cannot find their Philippine birth certificate anymore. You can actually order it online. Just look for the PSA online request of birth certificate and you can request for a copy of your birth certificate. You don't need to be in the Philippines to request for it, but if you really want to do it, you really want to go to the PSA office, Here in the Philippines, you can have an authorized person to process that for you. Write an authorization letter that you are requesting a copy of your birth certificate, then the payment, and they should be able to give that authorized person of the copy of your birth certificate. So either way, online or going to the office of the PSA, you can have a copy of your birth certificate. For tickets, you guys are exempted actually for the round trip ticket. Former Filipinos can travel to the Philippines on a one-way ticket. Like I said, just present those documentation, one of the documents that I mentioned during check-in or during immigration. I wanted to warn you guys because I've heard of horror stories of former Filipinos that were denied from boarding because they don't have a visa. The problem is the airline staff. They don't know much about these privileges of Filipinos going back to the Philippines as they naturalized in a different country. I have actually posted the link of this protocol to former Filipinos that you guys can go home to the Philippines on a one-way ticket. You guys can go home to the Philippines without a visa. That you guys are eligible to receive the one-year visa or the Balikbayan visa privileges upon arrival into the Philippines. I will leave the link in the description box on this video. That way you guys can print it out, especially if you guys are going to the Philippines for a long time that you haven't been back, like 20 some years or 30 some years, and you did not really apply for dual citizenship because you don't want to be a dual citizen. That is completely fine. You want to remain as a former Filipino. That is completely fine also. You can print it out in case the airline asks for proper documentation that, hey, you need a visa and stuff. You can present it to them that, no, I don't need a visa, that I can actually travel to the Philippines without one, that I can actually travel to the Philippines on a one-way ticket. Even your spouses, your foreign spouse or your foreign kids traveling with you as a former Filipino, they can also avail for the one-year Balikbayan visa upon arrival into the Philippines. They are also exempted on the return ticket, that they can travel to the Philippines on a one-way ticket also. Just make sure you guys have your marriage certificate and the birth certificate of the kids handy. So as a former Filipino, you are traveling on a foreign passport. Make sure your passports are valid. So your passport should at least have 6 months. It would be better if it has 6 months or more validity in it, because the 6 months rules apply when you go to the Philippines. Make sure that you have enough validity in your passport, because you can actually get denied from boarding if your passport has less than 6 months validity in it. E-travel, of course, is still required for former Filipinos. You will be under the foreign nationals category, because when you go to etravel.gov.ph, there are two categories there, the Philippine passport and the foreign passport. You should click the foreign passport, fill it out so you guys can get your QR code. It's so easy to fill out the e-travel now. It's not as hard as before. No more downloads, no more uploading, and the steps are shortened actually. If you guys for some reason are not capable of doing the e-travel, you can ask some help from your friends or family to do the e-travel for you. It can be printed, it can also be saved on your phone, or you can do both, just in case your phone goes low bat and for some reason they will check the QR code. I've heard from several travelers that they don't check e-travel anymore during check-in. This is because it's already in the system. When they scan your passport, they can already see that you have registered with e-travel. But this is still required within 3 days prior to departure. It doesn't have to be 3 days, 2 days prior, or on the day of your departure, you can still register with e-travel. I also want to add this because this has been brought up, if travel insurance is required. No, it's not required. It's actually an option. So it's really up to you if you want to buy travel insurance. If you can afford it, go for it. But make sure the travel insurance that you buy, you can use in the Philippines for emergency. Because there are travel insurance that you can only use in a certain country. So make sure Philippines is one of them, because if not, it's kind of useless to buy it. So be very careful buying travel insurance, but it wouldn't hurt if you have it when you are traveling to the Philippines. And to those former Filipinos or Balikbayans who just recently arrived in the Philippines, if you guys can share your experience, what are the documents that were asked from you upon arrival or during check-in or during immigration process, if you guys could share it to the community, I really appreciate it, guys. So this is the quick travel update for former Filipinos or Balikbayans for the month of November 2023. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, concerns, or inquiries with regards to this video or in any of our travel related videos, please comment it down below and I will try to get back to you guys as soon as I can. Or you can direct message me in our Facebook page, same handle, the Eaton Squad, or in our Instagram page, the Eaton Squad Official. Again, guys, thank you so much for the continued support and trust to our channel and to our family. I hope to see you on our next travel update. Stay safe, stay healthy, and God bless everyone.